especially by the industry folks, is why am I speaking to a games company? I am not making games. Why am I speaking to you? Why am I speaking to you? And the first question that I get asked by them is like, are you going to be talking about gamification? Are you going to make complex topics more fun by adding gamification elements to it? Well, no, that's not why I'm here. I'm not here to talk about gamification. Then the next question I get asked is this about mixed reality? Are you going to be talking about AR and VR and whatnot and all of those other realities that exist? Yes, sort of. You are right on the track about that. So what we have today is that we are in the midst of this huge technology revolution, which is being driven by a new generation of engineers and consumers like yourselves and like myself. And real-time 3D revolution is here. So if you look at what is real-time 3D, if you look at, let's go back, let's rewind some time. In the 1960s and 80s, everything was 2D. If you were able to render something on a 2D surface, then you were there. You might remember Star Wars or any of those movies, sci-fi movies, and 2D was a big thing. And you fast forward to the early 2000s and even early 2010s, 3D being viewed in a 2D screen was a big thing. Even today, you can always, when people talk about 3D, it's always on a flat screen and it's perspective 3D. Even when you watch a 3D movie, it's still on a flat screen made to look like 3D, right? And finally, today we have real-time 3D, which means it is really 3D. When you're wearing a VR headset or when you're wearing a mixed reality headset and you're looking at a 3D hologram, for example, you can literally walk around it and know that it is being 3D. And that's where we are. And because of real time, which is another element which is added on top of this 3D element, it is changing a lot of businesses and is also changing consumer expectations. For businesses, it's all about how they deliver and build new products. And for consumers, it's all about expectations. And what does real time mean? It has to be immediate. You cannot have delayed gratification. It's personalized, which means it's not generalized, it's connected, and there's constant improvement. So let's take an example, like a today example of what this really means. As a consumer, we have all been using services like Uber, or we have been using services like Amazon. Every time that you book an Uber, the data of the driver getting to your home is real time. You want to know where the driver is every second so that you know when he's coming to your location. That driver is your driver, which means it is personalized. And because you're connected to the driver, you can, and because it's all the information is literally living on the cloud, you can also share that information with your family and with your friends and stay connected so that everyone knows when are you going to be arriving at that arriving at your destination. And there's constant improvement being done by Uber to make sure that there's no obsolescence. And games as a technology was born in real time. Any game that you're going to be playing, be it Candy Crush, be it PUBG, be it any kind of other any other game really, even Pac-Man, every one of them is real time, and games are in the center of this real time evolution. Games are also setting the standard when it comes to entertainment. So in 2001, if you look at the industry trend when it comes to entertainment, music was of course dominating the industry in 2001. Then film came like slightly below, and games were slightly above film. But in 2019, the amount of revenue that was being generated by games industry alone is 3 times more than music and film industry combined. And that is why today real-time technology is being used across many industries. In fact, I've only have space for 8, but you can see it's being used in automotive industry, it's being used in aerospace, manufacturing, entertainment. AEC stands for architecture, engineering, and construction, defense, education, retail, and there's many more. You can even talk about healthcare, You can talk about any other system integrations company. All of those all of those industries are adopting real time at an extremely fast pace. So let's look at some examples of what real time really means versus what does offline or non real time really means. This is how cars are being designed through real time today. So this is an example of Audi, where the the days of having to prepare these huge clay models of your car, which still a lot of companies still do, are going away. This is very expensive process, right? If you want to design a car, you have to first of all create a clay model of it, which means that the sculpture has to be a very skilled person. You find this one of a kind of a person. If you want to do a review of this car, you have to fly someone from across the world in order to look at it. Any minor change to it in terms of addition or subtractions is a pretty expensive process. You probably even have to redesign the entire car. Whereas if you're doing it in virtual reality, you have the virtual reality based physical model of the car as designed in the CAD software. You bring it inside your real-time software like Unity, and you're able to collaboratively make the design happen regardless of where the person is in the world. At the same time, you're also able to look at the car in its photorealistic avatar, which means the final product of the car that you're going to be manufacturing is something that you're already visualizing during the design phase itself. Similarly, architecture industry, that was of course the automobile industry. Architecture industry is also adopting real time rapidly. The days of carrying huge rolls and rolls of paper and architectural design is gone or is going away. Instead, architects and engineers and construction workers are carrying a very lightweight tablet or even their own personal mobile phones, and they're able to automatically look at the architectural design in 3D, as opposed to looking at it on a flat piece of paper, where you really need to have the ability to read it, and also most importantly the ability to visualize what is going to happen in that construction site. Whereas here, anyone can look at the final building along with the metadata, which is usually called the BIM data, right inside right inside a lightweight tablet. Then you have real-time hardware development. We are seeing more and more hardware being developed out of India, especially in this VR space. So companies like Tesseract or Ajna Lens, they're all companies creating hardware in India, and we also have a lot of OEMs creating manufacturing out of India. Having a digital twin solution of it, where you can literally simulate millions and millions of iterations, or millions and millions of scenarios of what might happen when you're designing a hardware, is a more smarter way of doing it than doing it physically, because it's not real time. You don't have to run to an electric shop. You don't have to run to a shop that sells you IoT devices and put them together in the hope that it will work. Rather, you're going to be using real-time technologies like Unity, which has all of the library of IoT devices, all the libraries of sensors, all the libraries of electrical input and output devices, all the physicalities that you see in the real world. All of that are simulated in this engine for you to design hardwares without having to literally build it. Shopping is also changing quite a lot. I'm sure a lot of folks are already doing shopping like this, where you're again taking a phone or tablet and you're placing the furniture right inside your home. Does this particular sofa that you're seeing on the screen fit inside your room? Does it fit with the decor of your room, or things that you can look at it? Things like brick and mortar, where Sears is an American company that sells furniture, for example, is going away. And even in India, you're seeing more companies like Pepperfry or Urban Ladder picking up more than folks going to a normal brick and mortar kind of a shop. Entertainment is of course changing. I have disconnected cable from my house. I only watch things in real time. Netflix is a fantastic example of me watching shows that are personalized to me, that are connected to me, that I watch when I want to be watching. So if I want to be watching I don't know, Big Boss season 10 or whatever, I watch it during my own time. I don't want to go to the televisions I don't want the television or the cable provider to tell me when to watch the particular show. And I'm sure that's very true with a lot of folks that are watching here. Similarly, real-time experiences are being improved even in automotive HMIs. So this kind of HMI that you see, or HMI stands for human machine interface, is going away, and instead is being replaced by a physical tablet that you can configure to connect to various parts of your choice of transportation. So with these examples, what we have realized is real time has already created some very clear winners and losers in terms of who has adopted real time versus people who have not adopted real time. So let's look at some examples. Tesla is a car company for folks who don't know. I don't know anyone who does not know of Tesla. Is creating a revolution in electric cars. They heavily rely on these kinds of real-time technologies in order to expedite their manufacturing. Today, they're valued at $37.9 billion, as opposed to Ford, which is of course adopting real-time, no doubt, but they have been a traditional car manufacturer, and they are more valued at $34.9 billion. Or if you look at entertainment again, in 2018, it was a year when Netflix surpassed the number of video subscriptions as opposed to cable and satellite worldwide. And DirecTV, which is an American cable provider, they dropped 1 million users. They lost 1 million users in Q2 of 2019. And you can see more and more examples of that. I already talked about Uber, which literally has no. It's a cab company or a taxi company that owns no cabs or taxis. Airbnb, which again does not own any hotels. DoorDash is a delivery platform. All of those are valued more than traditional car manufacturers or traditional architects or traditional delivery partners. So 48% of the consumers say, vehicle brand does not matter. Automaker brands will take a backseat to new driving experiences as autonomous vehicles and car sharing become more popular. These are some quotes from Ginny Rometty, who's the CEO of IBM. So what we are looking today is a technology disruption. The average lifespan of a Fortune 500 company has dropped by 66%. And that usually happens because there is a huge disruption in technology that a lot of these companies who don't adopt these technologies, real-time technology, pretty much fall out of the competition. So today, Unity, we are helping 7,000 plus industry customers to use real time, including consumers or including different verticals like manufacturing, transportation. You can see the Unity is being adopted in Daimler, Audi, Toyota, Denso, Bosch, BMW, Airbus, Boeing, and whatnot. In architecture, engineering, construction, AECOM, Atkins, Trimble, Mortensen, all of those huge architectural firms are already using Unity. And of course, you have agencies and consultancies. Right here in India, you have like Accenture, Infosys, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, Tata, every one of them using Unity in their services. So let's look at some examples. I've given you some idea of what real-time really means, but it might seem like it is more idealistic than what is happening on the ground. And I want to show some examples happening, examples of real-time technology being adopted by the industries today so that it doesn't feel like fiction or science fiction, more like. So this is an example I already showed you, so I'm going to play this video for you guys. So that was cool, right? So let's that was from Audi, and I want to make this, considering that this is on Zoom and we are all looking at this from our homes, hopefully. I want to keep it a little more interactive. So folks who thought that was pretty cool, I think you have some annotations that you can add in the chat. Maybe you can just raise your hand, or do a little bit of clapping, so that via Zoom, to know that if you thought that it was pretty cool. So let's keep it that way, right? Yeah, cool. I see someone already on the chat. See what they have to say. That was awesome. Thank you, Udaya Pavitra. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you, Pradeep. Cool. So let's move on to the next one, next example, right? Go on. Next up is Unit 040, which is now part of Unity's Verified Solutions Partner, which allows you to create digital twin solutions of pretty much any manufacturing, or any kind of things that you want to literally manufacture. So there's an example from Guido van Gangeldunk, who is the CTO of Unit 040, who said, like, we are pleased to work with clients such as Philips, Bosch, Canon, and Toyota, and we are helping them reduce costs by 25 to 30%. So what does that really mean? Let's look at another video. So this is an example of the conveyor belt, where objects are being manufactured, and you are inside an airport, and you're looking at the simulated view of what would happen to improve the efficiency of handling baggages inside an airport. I'm sure every one of you have had terrible experiences at airports, waiting for your bags to be scanned by the security folks, right? So what would happen if you're able to digitally simulate all of the possible scenarios of that particular process? And this is, of course, a more a relatable example, but if you're in the manufacturing sector, you can, of course, imagine a similar kind of scenario, where you can literally simulate millions and millions of possible scenarios in order to figure out what would be the most efficient way of manufacturing, or efficient way of operating any kind of machinery. And if you found that to be cool, let me know on the chat. Next up is Mortensen. Let's see what we have in chat. Yeah, everything is really nice. Excellent going. Thank you, Dr. Subramanya Bharati. Wow, that's a fantastic name. All right, let's look at Mortensen, which is looking at construction. Oops. Mortensen is a construction company, of course, and they have been using Unity and RealTime heavily in order to design pretty much a lot of their projects. But in this particular example, I'm going to talk about how they designed a particular hospital even before it started construction, to make sure that the ergonomics of the surgery room are perfect. So they had different doctors, different kind of scenarios, different kind of nurses, whoever is going to be in the surgical room, walk around a virtual reality environment, so that they are able to find that doctors and nurses and anyone who's going to be helping out in the surgery process are able to reach, are able to be comfortable in that room, or able to find the right kind of equipments in the right manner. So I'm going to play this video right now.
Mark Kinsman. I'm an emerging technologies developer, and I work for Mortensen. I'm Will Adams. I'm an emerging technologies developer. We focus on basically finding new technologies that are out there and developing those and using those to figure out how we can help our business or our customer businesses. We definitely do work with healthcare providers. One of the challenges.
Arvind, I think the audio is very low.
Okay, so I'm just gonna play. I already kind of explained what this is all about. Let me just find. Yeah, so you can just see this video where they are in virtual reality and they are already figuring out where the different equipments within the hospital needs to be before they start construction, so that they don't have to iterate during the construction process, which is usually a lot more expensive. Thanks for bringing the audio problem to my notice. Next up is Shop. Shop is designing a huge building in New York City, and they were able to bring in the metadata, which is usually called BIM or building information data, right inside Unity from Revit, which is the design tool of their choice, inside Unity, and they are able to collaboratively create AR apps so that construction workers are able to visualize exactly what they're going to be constructing. So this is using Unity's latest offering, which is called Unity Reflect, where you're able to sync data that is coming from Revit right inside Unity. So what you saw there was actually quite awesome. The color coding that you saw within this particular screen. Let's find that. Yeah. So right over here, or all of the reds define different kinds of mechanical constructions, like your pipes, your taps, and all of those things. And you have your floor constructions, like your ceilings and floors. All of those are defined by a different kind of color. And so, from a construction point of view, from an architect to a construction communication point of view, you are able to deliver to the architectural firm what has been constructed and what will be constructed. And from a consumer point of view, you can also give them information in real time about how big or how fast is the progression of the building construction taking place. If you're looking at the apartment construction, you can go up to the apartment buyers and give them information in real time and make them have a VR walkthrough of how much their house has been constructed without having the consumers or the customers come to the construction site itself. And that's quite powerful. Next up is again Shop using augmented reality to find whether a particular part of a building construction fits in the place that it is supposed to be fitting. Let me play that video. So that's pretty cool too, right? You're often in the construction site, you're looking at whether a particular column or a particular beam needs to be fit in a particular place. Where does the door fit in? Where does whatever needs to be fit in the construction site? And because you're getting data in real time, you have a single source of truth for all design purposes, and uh, you're able to check or correct or validate whether the design fits in the real world itself. Again, on chat, let me know if it's awesome. There's a lot of examples. I'm not going to go through all of these things. I'm not going to be playing all of these videos, but I'm just going to quickly talk through this Skanska example where they are using virtual reality to train their construction workers in the real construction kind of site itself. Because in VR, you're able to bring in the CAD data in VR, and you're able to train the construction workers on safety practices. And I suppose data has shown that retainability of training in virtual reality is much higher than having to train across using a manual or by just watching a video. an example from Volkswagen, where they are training blue-collar workers like spray painters and drillers on how to be safe and how to be working with those kinds of equipments, because typically you need about 100 hours of expertise before 100 hours of practice before you become an expert in a particular field. And these kind of blue collar jobs, you don't really get the opportunity to spend 100 hours if you're a newbie, or if you're a new guy into the job, and virtual reality allows you to do that. This is assisted training, where if you're again a new guy on the job or a new girl on the job, you can literally wear an augmented reality headset, and you're going to be getting assistance from the augmented reality headset to tell you exactly what you need to be doing in the manufacturing plant. So let's look at some, let's have a quiz right now, right? So everyone get onto your chat. Uh, okay, I have a question. Is like all are these projects open source? Well, no, these are custom projects made by these particular companies, and of course, a lot of these projects that you're seeing is made with Unity, and within Unity, a lot of subsystems like the core game engine called Dots framework or the UI system are all open source. Anyway, let's get into some quizzing. Get onto your chat mode, and let's see if you can tell the difference between uh, how much what is being rendered in real time versus what is being rendered offline, or what is actually a photograph really. So let's look at this. Ooh, come on. Okay, so we did a test with BMW, where we went to a studio and we shot a real BMW car, and we also took the same lighting information, we took the same material information, and then rendered the same car by bringing in the CAD data of the BMW car inside Unity. And we created a screenshot where we placed the real BMW car with the rendered BMW car inside Unity. Now, how many of you think that the BMW on the right-hand side of your screen is the real BMW, the one that was photographed? Let's see. Let's see the chat. All right. Let's see. Anyone? Anyone? Any guesses? What is? Do you think that the car on the right is right? Seems to be rendered. All right. How many of you think the left is rendered? Right is rendered. Okay, a lot of left is rendered. Okay. Okay. Seems to be a split over there, which is expected. Let's move on. Let's look at this chat. Let's look at this particular screenshot. Oh wow, there's already there's already a spoiler there. But what you see here is the one on the left is rendered, the one on the right is photographed. Let me play this video. In fact, it's unbelievable that they are both very similar. Right? So this is just to show the rendering quality that you get out of Unity. You don't have to be looking at blank, early 2000s versions of 3D. You can literally be looking at high quality visuals. This is of course using Unity's ray tracing technology, thanks to NVIDIA's RTX card. The one on the left is of course photographed and videographed. On the right is rendered in real time using Unity. Now is the kicker. Can you tell what is rendered and what is reality? So on the right, do you think the right one is rendered or the left one is rendered? More quiz time. Let's see. Let's see what the world has to say. Yeah. Woo. Why am I able to see my chat screen? Woo. Left, right, left, right, right. Okay, that sounds like a march past right now. Cool. Well, all right. Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see. So the one on the left is actually rendered, and one on the right is a photograph. It's incredible, isn't it? Like I always get like a 50-50 response from everyone. It's like literally a coin toss at this point of time. And it's really hard to figure out what is rendered in real time and what is actually photographed. So thanks for all of your answers. Really appreciate that. Let's move on. So now the question, the killer question, why should you be using Unity? Unity is the #1 real-time 3D development platform. If you look at the data, 3 billion devices have 3 billion devices were reached. Sorry, 3 billion devices had a made with Unity experience built on their device in the last 12 months alone. There was 60% of all AR and VR content that you're seeing today is created using Unity. In fact, funnily enough, we have more penetration, anecdotally speaking, than Google. Than Google. And if you are asking like how is that even possible, well, Google is not in China. Unity is in China, which means, and this is not a statement that is really boasting or anything, but Unity as a company, we know more about AR and VR than any other company in the world, primarily because of all of this data. And we also have a very good commitment for enterprise, which is the industry folks. We have a very clear roadmap. We have long-term support or LTS, and there is a very clear documentation and an upgrade path. If you're going from a particular version, older version of Unity and upgrading to a newer version of Unity, you have very clear and easy path of doing that. We also have an incredibly large talent pool. We have 1.2 million monthly active developers around the world. In India itself, we have an extremely active Unity community across different cities, be it Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad, Delhi, Kolkata, and even in Ahmedabad, Indore. We have a very, very active and very, very passionate Unity community. So if you're looking to hire, you probably have a better chance of hiring a Unity developer. We also have a very single-minded business model. We do not build games. We deliver products and services to enable our customers to innovate in real-time 3D. So if there's someone who has already created a plugin or a product that adds to the real-time 3D revolution, we very gladly partner with them. So examples like Pixies or examples like Interact, we have partnered with them so that we can scale across many markets, including manufacturing, AEC, and M&E, which stands for media and entertainment. And of course, there's no black boxes. Someone asked the question of like, hey, is this all open source? Many systems of Unity are completely open source, especially the core engine. The engine that drives Unity is called the DOTS framework, which stands for Data Oriented Technology Stack, is completely open source. A lot of systems like UI system is completely open source. Or if you're looking at even the rendering engine, which is called the scriptable rendering pipeline, that's completely open source. So many core features of the Unity engine itself is open source. So the next question I get asked is like, all right, this is all awesome. This is beautiful. How do I start? Where do I start learning about Unity? That's when we get into Unity education, which Jay will probably give you a lot more insight, but I'm going to give a little overview of what it all means. So let's look at some job market stats. This was the data that was released by LinkedIn, where a Unity developer was #7 in the emerging jobs report. And if you look at something here, it's kind of interesting data. All of the other jobs, if you look at machine learning engineer, data scientist, or big data developer, or brand partner, all of these jobs don't have a particular platform name to them. You don't see a Java developer. You don't see a C++ developer. You don't see a Salesforce developer. But Unity is the only platform name that you see over there, which is quite powerful. And it is also estimated that the XR market, which is the VR and AR market demand, is going to be extremely high. In 2021, is estimated that industry is going to be valued at $215 billion. So demand for skilled XR professional is experiencing a major uptick. You can have developers, software designers, 3D artists, design architects, hardware engineers, project managers, all of them being hired in this XR market and XR industry. And Unity, of course, provides a number of learning resources for you to get into this industry. So we have game kits and projects, courses, certifications, and workshops. So for Unity courses, you can of course go to unity3d.com/learn, and you can go through a number of courses going from beginner courses to advanced courses to game art to cinematics to AR and VR, of course. We also do a lot of trainings and workshops, which can either be online like this one, or we also do in-person workshops. And then there is certification. We have a number of certifications ranging from educational certification, professional certification, and advanced professional certification, which Jay will probably talk a lot more about. And this is awesome. Today we are in a world that has never been seen before, thanks to COVID. And Unity has a lot of Unity Learn premium content, which is now completely free till the end of June 20th. So anyone and everyone can go to unity3d.com/learn and get access to Unity Learn's premium content all for free. You can get exclusive access to Unity experts, live interactive sessions, and on-demand learning content, because these are very difficult times for a lot of people, very trying times for a lot of industries, and there is no better time for you to skill up than what we have today. And with that, I'm going to leave this webinar. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be online, to be part of this incredible experience.
Arvind, I think you should also take time to get some of the question and answers which have been posted out to
Of
you.
course, of course, of course. But I'll just leave my name there and my email ID over there too. So if you have any questions, you can also email me, but I'll also spend some time to answer these questions. All right, cool. Let's look at chat. Chat. Okay. Took a while, guess the platform. Okay. Let's look at the question and answer. Okay, Nitya Nandan. It uh, seems more on industry could provide examples of how it's adapted in the education sector. Jay is going to be answering that question for you. Uh, Manimori had a question, which is not really a question. This is whether is oh okay oh whether is it platform independent? Yeah, Unity is pretty much platform agnostic. It's able to support over 30 different platforms. In fact, anecdotally speaking, pretty much anything that has a screen, Unity is able to deploy to it. Question from Pungudi Vijay Kumar. What is the percentage of implementation failures of design through real time in construction or automobile industry by Unity? Well, that's a very subjective question. But what we have seen is in the construction industry, let's look at return of investment, right? Within the first year, and this was a report by Forbes, within the first 1 year, any company that has adopted real-time 3D saw a 84% return on investment within the first 1 year, which is quite incredible. Question, how is the seminar related to education? Jay will be able to answer that question for you. All right, let's look at the chat. Is there any platform to learn docs? Yes, this is a question from Udaya. Yes, in fact, there is, if you go to unity3d.com/learn, there is a lot of content available for you to look at docs. Of course, the community is huge, so there's also a lot of YouTube channels, especially Brackeys. I would definitely recommend that, where you can learn about docs. What time period can we complete this course? Well, it's kind of up to you. It's self-paced, but typically it'll take you anywhere between I would say 36 hours to 40 hours. What is the cost in constructing a prototype in real time with AR tech? Well, again, it's subjective, but you can download Unity, you can get your 3D software, and of course all of the plugins around AR Core and AR Kit that you are typically using for deploying. It's available for you to use. What do you think will be the cons of real time? Well, I think the cons of using real time are quite less, but I believe that skilling up is very important. And I see this trend where if you don't adopt to real time, you will be kind of left behind. And I think there's an urgency at this point of time to start adopting this technology. Is there any programming skill required? Well, Unity has been this was a question from Srinath Sellaraj. You don't really, in fact, Unity has been investing heavily in artist and designer friendly tools over the last 2 years. And I can say, like, most of the applications that you're going to be creating will not require a lot of programming, but if you have programming skills, it's definitely a plus. All right, then there's a question from Balaguru Nathan. Is there any VR technology to design the drug? I don't know what that means. That's a very strange question. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I believe I've answered pretty much all the questions that have been answered to me, or been asked to me rather. If you have more questions, feel free to put it on the chat. I'll be more than happy to answer them. If you want to ask me questions later on, feel free to email me at arvind@unity3.com. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you too. So with that, I am going to hand over the webinar screen to our friend Jay Naresh, who's going to give you a lot more insights about Unity and education. Thank you so much. Jay, you want to take over?
Just give me a minute. Yes.
Okay, while I'm getting a minute, Sri Sasireka had a question. Real time is quite good. I think the level of security has not been met in applications, including Uber. How do you ensure it? Well, the Unity is built on top of a .NET framework, which is Microsoft's .NET framework. So all of the security features that you see on top of .NET is available right away with Unity. So and .NET is of course used across many industries today, and so security is built into Unity's DNA. All right, with that, I'll leave it to Jay. Jay, take over.
All right, thank you, Arvind, and hi everyone. Welcome to this part of the thing. It's just a quick 10-15 minute session on where we are in education sector, especially in the VR and AR space, right? So before we begin with, let's understand the model of education. Our model of education has been very traditional. One guy talking and multiple people hearing and go back and repeat the same steps. But today, if you look at most of the jobs which are actually coming in, any monotonous or autonomous jobs is already being taken over by computers and artificial intelligence, where people are not required to think a lot and they just want some factor to happen on a regular basis. So this is very true if you look at the workforce, where you see most of the people either talking about programming as a skill set, digital skill sets, or tech skill sets, which is especially used in maintenance or engineering. And then you have research skill sets. So this is the high level things that people are looking at. And in terms of what people do, right, there is a shift from just doing what you know into what people is possible to do in a smaller period of time. So let's say, for example, betting and stuff. So in education today, the emphasis is on the core skills, which makes not alone people follow a set of instructions, but also listen, ideate, come back with a better solution, or be flexible, provide alternate options, make the solution complete, right? So this is where the entire world is moving towards, and the need for training in different aspects of these skill sets is becoming more and more complex. Now, most of the people have heard this word saying that you need to be more creative going forward, but what does it mean to be creative? Creativity starts everywhere. When I say starts everywhere, the moment you ask a student, right, an answer why he is late for class, the moment you ask the question, student is ready to give you 100 answers, right? And that is also creativity. And the best part is if a student is able to give you a good answer, which is where the teacher is fooled by it, he is like the top of the class. He is able to put one and one together and create a lot of story behind it, solution behind it, and reason behind it. This is why today educators are looking at newer formats for actually taking education ahead. So this is something from the gaming community that we have actually enabled as an architect, and we are able to see people use video games to teach children, not alone school children, but also universities, how they can actually manage complex problems. So if you look at normally, these are two opposite ends. When I say two opposite ends, normally people playing games don't do better in academics at the end of the day, or at least that is the general saying. But then you have today people where they are able to show multiple talents. So this is where we are trying to merge, or I would even say marry academics and interactive technologies together, where we are able to reap the benefits of both. The most engaging games that you are played today, something like, let's say, PUBG or Call of Duty or Candy Crush, all these games, they have a very engaging time. If you look at a child, even if he has spent 2 hours on a video game, right? The moment you ask him to give the game back to you, they are not going to do that. And today, games are so easy to interact with that kids are actually teaching the grandfather and grandmothers how to actually operate their mobile phones and how to start this particular game. So what we want to do is we want to marry these two both to make the best of both worlds and get people to do something like this. What is this? So basically, there is a pollution challenge which was designed as a game where people have to propose, compare, and talk about how students can play this game to actually propose different ideas, which is not alone, out of the world, but at the same time, whether it is actually solving the real problem. So the whole challenge was to play a game, understand what is causing what, the cause and effect of it. So if you install, uh, let's say, solar panels, you are obviously stressing the environment on batteries. So which means you need to put research in better batteries and more eco-friendly batteries. This was one of the shocking outcomes of this challenge, and a lot of people were surprised whatever people can actually put up from this particular thing. So this education people took it to the next level. They started from basics of basics, where children were not given textbooks, but they were given problems. When they were given problems, then they were actually looking out how to solve this problem. That is where they got to play together and make a lot of things. This particular ladder was made and broken many times before this became final. So the learning led to a lot of different interactive experiences. One of the other experience that you're seeing here is slicing. So what is 1 by 4? How do you cut a cake so it makes it 1 by 4? And when you learn how to do all this visually, you're also learning maths. You're also able to understand and cognitively place mathematics in beautiful proportions. So education today is going through a lot of changes. One of the other successful thing is, instead of teaching, people are experiencing education. What do you mean by experiencing education? So if you look at some concept like pulley, right? People are given police, they are given an understanding of police, and they are brought into a VR world. And inside a VR world, people are told, solve this. Now you have three kinds of police. So now the student experiences and bring these pulleys onto the table and pushes them and figures out what is the best angle to put this pulley at. Now this might look like very simple exercises, but in real life, you're not just studying physics books. You're taking it ahead and you are actually pushing the boundaries of video games to make gamification possible. People are also able to do simulation. When I say simulation, people are able to throw in physics, figure out what happens if physics reacts with each other. Now, this is all the way possible all to virtual IoT kits, where people are continuously training, as what Aravind showed in the last one, where industry people have started using this to create even virtual operations, where you want to simulate what would happen if the given amount of time is not met. So all this, plus how games keep children engaged for hours, is what people are looking at in the silos of the team. When I say silos of the team, today children are confined to very limited spaces. Now, what happens here is they have a restroom break to talk about, but then after that, it is all study this, study that, and go to the next exercise. So now you have an adventure, now you have an exploration, but at the same time, you're learning your subjects as much as possible. So we have been talking about this. What is this concept called? The concept of making education fun and at the same time visually make people understand how do you use these games to make better classroom environment is called gamification. So we are taking education and we are gamifying it and we are giving them an interactive environment where the students' attention is kept on for longer periods of time. So what happens? Simple, whenever you have games, there are rules and there are actually mechanics which actually tells you what to do. Now, whenever you play Candy Crush, you want to keep playing Candy Crush. Why? Because of these following mechanics, which is actually propagated. What are those things? When you are playing PUBG, right? You all wait for the victory scheme to come by. But even if you lost it halfway around, you are happy that you got at least 4 to 5 kills. So those are your small achievements and leaderboards that comes as part of this particular system. So what happens? How are people using it across? Today, interactive education is making a lot of strides where people don't have to create real frogs and dissect them. Today, people are able to completely simulate a virtual environment within a doctor's scope. So medical schools can learn how to handle ER properly, emergency responses. So even before a virus attack is happening, we can simulate the entire thing in virtual reality and see how doctors actually react to it. Museums, interactive spaces. Museums have always been this boring place where you can actually do it. For a game like Pokemon Go, where you're able to go across different teams, you're able to do all that. So gamification and game-based education is putting a lot of things where people are working together. So apart from the Industry 4.0, we are able to see a lot of people using these kind of AR, VR technology to create exercises and teach people better. So this is one example of how a periodic table and how AR is being used within a particular environment in schools to show how students can start learning not alone maths, but also physics, chemistry, and other things interactively and create their own research labs. Today, we have virtual laboratories for schools where you don't have to spend $1 million in that equipment, but you can always start your own equipment on things. So this is what is changing every company. When I say every company, right from Byju's, Extra Marks, all these people are using Unity to create their own platform. Now, this is where the education sector is hugely benefited by bringing all these virtual labs, exercises, and experiences into your homes that you can experience it rather just read and learn a book. So now you're able to do best of best things, and people are working with them to say how people can be benefited out of them. If you want to check online, you can figure out a lot more things than this, which actually puts people how AR, VR is transforming education. Now, coming to the close of the seminar, I've always been faced with students asking me, what is Unity? Is it a designer tool or is it an artist tool or a programmer tool? The answer is every student is different. Students with design capability can participate in design languages. Student with artist capability can create animation, art, graphics, particles. And students who want to learn coding can also learn C# as the language in Unity to create this particular programming scope. So what does Unity do? Unity needs a lot of people to participate if you just look at it. So for one single studio, at least 3 people is required in minimum to put together a simple project. So that is why the demand for the jobs is completely overshooting the applications that we are seeing today. In fact, we have been recommended, like Arvind mentioned, that the number 7th in the LinkedIn survey of the jobs to actually get. We have also been closely looking at how Unity has made tech professionals' life easier by getting them into IT industries, especially in India. And what we have understood is real world learning is only next key to anything else. So what is Unity doing for students? First of all, Unity's student community is growing 56% year on year. And when I say 56%, this is roughly around 1 million students who are getting added into the Unity student program. We know we have to do this because of the job market, which is killing us. There are more and more people asking us for Unity resources. So what we did, we made Unity for students free. When I say free, it is practically free. You can go to unity3d.com/students and apply for a student license, and you would be enabled with the student license in a day. Why are we doing this? So that you can create whatever you want. You can create your next AR/VR application. You can create your next industrial application. You can create your next education application. Or if you are someone like me who has no interest in IT, you can always go be part of the entertainment industry, where you can be one of the movie makers or even a video gamer. You can create whatever video games you like. So what is next? So Unity is collaborating with a lot of university, like what we have recently done with Periyar University, and we offer courses to students so that the student learns not this as an additional curriculum, but also as part of his own propaganda, as part of his course itself. So if you're a student of either media school or the IT school or the mechanical school, we are collaborating with these departments to give you great offerings inside them. Now, if you want to participate better in Angles, we are also asking students to apply for our Unity Student Ambassador programs. So who are Unity Student Ambassadors? These are selective group of people that help us build the community and make it move forward. When I say make it move forward, they help us, they become our volunteers, they help us arrange events, they get free training as part of their particular ambassadorship. They get to come and watch us at Unite, which is a bigger conference for us. And at the moment, we have 50 people selected as ambassadors, and we are looking to add another 50 more who will be great orators, who will be able to understand technology and at the same time talk to us openly about what are the problems that people are facing around them. So this is the India network. You can see the India network already blooming around. As I told you, last year we had 50 people, and we are trying to grow it up to another 150 this year. So Unity is free. Second problem is Unity fits into whatever bandwidth you fall under. If you say you're a programmer, you're a programmer. If you say you are an artist, you're an artist. If you say I'm a designer, you're a designer. Unity is democratic, which means that you can create your own apps even if you're a student today. At the end of that application is built, you can publish it and earn money. And Unity doesn't come back and say, you know what, this is not for commercial use. The biggest thing that we have seen is Unity is transdisciplinary. Like we said, we are across 13 different industries. We are stepping into a new age where Unity is becoming like the PowerPoint of the world, where you can use Unity to create any 3D application that you want to build. So Unity is a must skill even if you're not looking for career opportunities to go forward. So we would like to close the session with a very few questions that have actually popped up on my screen. Okay, so we have already covered some of the questions over here. only students are eligible to join the courses. Yes, this particular presentation covers only students, but Unity for industrial training and Unity for faculty training is available through our other programs, which the head of the institution has a better kind of. Will it be okay for non-IT? Yes, it is okay for non-IT. In fact, some of the people who are using Unity are completely arts teachers who are actually running this. The current VR technology, right, in India that we recommend for people to take up is, we are telling people that if you need to be broad focused. It is not alone VR. You have AR, VR, and MR. Surprisingly, MR is a huge push from Microsoft, and India being it's one of its key initiative, we will be seeing a lot more opportunity coming out in all the three fronts. Collaboratively, we are calling it the XR initiative. The next question is, what is the hardware infrastructure? All right, so hardware, you can start Unity with any latest laptops that you have. You can start learning whatever you have as solutions to begin with. Why? Not everything is VR. Some of the IoT solutions that I have seen, which have been built by students, is with existing laptops and existing framework. What we are saying is recommended is i5 and above. Okay, so which includes AMD's equivalent. If you want hassle-free installations, right, we are recommending that you have i7 with a minimum 2060 graphics card on it. So how IoT solution for an industry is integrated in real time? Arvind, do you want to take this question?
Yes. Okay. What was the question? How IoT solution for industries integrated in real time? Yeah. So a lot of see, am I on mute? Okay, yeah. So a lot of as mentioned during my part of the talk, we have been working with a lot of companies like Unit 040, with Interact, with Lights and Shadows, where you're able to get all of the IoT sensors directly as a library for simulation. At the same time, because Unity is built on top of a .NET library, you're also able to interface Unity to physical IoT devices or IoT sensors themselves. So one of the usual use cases of IoT devices is through HMI. So you can have a dashboard to monitor if all of the IoT devices and the sensors are working perfectly. So the interoperability between IoT sensors and pretty much any kind of hardware with Unity is quite straightforward.
So the next question is on the job market. I think there is a fairly equal. Okay, I should say that it's a marginally sliding one. There is a 60% demand for programmers and a 40% program for designers and artists, right? But overall, as I told you, Unity is not a single tool that everybody can master. So for every license which is sold on Unity, you need two people to work on it. One is the artist end of the job, and other one is the programmer part of the job. So I would say 60 is a great way to understand the need today. Cost effective alternates for mixed there are a lot of mixed reality headsets which is coming at 1/10 the cost of this HoloLens. So if you look at the newer offerings from Dell, Acer, who are all partnered with Microsoft, they're able to give you mixed reality headsets which is like at 1/10 the cost. And even Ajna Lens, which is an India-based startup, is actually doing a lot on this particular scope. So even those headsets are somewhere around 200 US dollars. Fundamentals and theories intrinsic to the subject being ensured using it. So that is where we come and have academic partnerships where we help people understand the fundamentals, theories that is required as basics to this. Especially this we do for research projects because we understand in the field of research there is a lot of change. In fact, right from DST to CDAC, everybody is now requesting people who can do research on AR basis. So we are doing custom train the trainer training for people who would be able to do these kind of theory-based understanding and get them into a hands-on workshop where they also practically apply it. If you are preparing any profitable projects through Unity, whether we need to clear any legal formalities with Unity. Okay, this question has two ends. The first end is to understand if this profitable project you mean, right, is going to be deployed as a commercial solution, then yes, you will have to clear the legalities. If it is something which is coming from just as a POC for an existing concept, then you can go well ahead, do it within your university and take it up. And whatever university you fall under, my recommendation would be is to connect with Arvind and me and get a clear understanding of what you're trying to do so that we can help you out to do this. So there is a scholarship program offered by most of our partners for the students under a variety of different programs. So unfortunately, I will not be able to put all that in the screen right now, but there is a scholarship program available. I think you can talk to Arvind, sorry, not Arvind, to PSJV to understand more about this. So psychology is a very, very clear place where VR has been proven to, especially in analyzing dyslexic and autistic behaviors within students. So there is a huge research and huge talk about it, which we cannot share in the public forum, but we will be able to do it on a personal basis later on if you could connect to us. So is there any supported training sessions? Yes, there is. So most of us can also follow us on the Unity web page, sorry, Facebook page, Unity 3D India, where we are actually working with a lot of people and they are putting out community training sessions by themselves. So at the shortage of time, we are going to be closing this. So thank you so much for having us all in the group. And thank you so much for connecting us. Arvind, do you want to give some closing remarks?
For sure. Thank you for Vidyadan for having us over here. I particularly enjoyed answering a lot of these questions and reaching out to the overall community.
So it is Vidyadan and PUSJV.
And PUSJV, of course. And I want to leave with the word that stay safe, be with your family. These are testing times, and anything, any help that you need from us, just reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to help you out in any way that we can. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Jay and Arvind. It's really the entire session was awesome. As a listener and viewer, we enjoyed a lot. And so hopefully, I expecting all other participants, they actively participated, not only here, and a lot of participants, they viewed our live video in Facebook also. And so this session, it's a kind of eye awakening session, really. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Arvind. And thanks for everyone. So we'll be signing off right now. Sure, if any other new kind of webinar, we'll let you know soon as possible. Thanks a lot.